Hey there, Laura. I just read your essay entitled Nature and Innocence in White Heron. You have really great things in here. I feel like I learned a lot actually just reading your piece. Um, your thesis was kind of hard to grapple with. It wasn't, clear from the beginning. You have in Sarah Oren Jewett's White Heron, nature becomes something that separates man and woman and allows a young girl to choose her innocence and remain independent of others. Um, I knew I was like, I don't really know. I mean, you've just talked about how nature doesn't care about people, but then you say it's something that separates men and women, kind of like giving it a persona. So anyway, that's a little bit unclear, but you walk us through pretty well what happens with the girl and how she chooses innocence and remains independent. Um, One thing to look for though is something I really watch for is a clear thesis and then topic sentences derived from the thesis. So if you have a three-pronged thesis, it's very easy to present the thesis prongs in order. For you, you kind of first address nature as something that separates man and woman. So I'm looking for that in this topic sentence. You say the story begins outdoors and gives distinct differences to two of the characters. Differences to two is just kind of awkward. Um, but I'm assuming that you're going to talk about Sylvia and the man. You talk about Sylvia for a long time. Um, and then kind of just as offhand quickly mention the young man and what research says about him. So um, there could have been a clearer segue to discussing the young man just so make sure your topic sentence really demonstrates what you're going to discuss in the paragraph and make things kind of go smoothly. I think that just hadn't quite happened. Even though your content is great, sometimes it's put together awkwardly. And then look at this topic sentence. As Sylvia gets to know the young man, her mind keeps coming back to nature and the birds in a way distinctly different from the young man, though she does begin to lose her initial fear and even entertains fantasies of a love story. Okay, so the semicolon's misplaced there. Um, but I think this fact is so fascinating. And you show it where she's just focused on nature and he's, kind of looking outward to his project. I think that's really, really well done. So organizationally, make sure all your topic sentences are telling the story of your essay. Um, read your work aloud to address awkward phrasing. But you just have beautiful content. Another thing, work to have just to share quotes for about 10% of a piece. So you kind of are doing huge chunks of quote where you can paraphrase instead, so just grapple with it and see what can I do to make sure I'm maintaining ownership of my piece. Um, and make sure you're using MLA formatting for your long quotes. Let us know who Atkinson is. Why should we trust Atkinson? If you're going to use that source support, you want to introduce the reader to who the person is. So yeah, there's just a couple things to address, that you could do to strengthen this piece. But here's a couple things, just little tips for grammar. Throughout the story, Sylvia knows the woods and every path she takes because she feels a part of the trees. You'd say a space part because a part means separate. When she wakes to go and find a heron, why is that capitalized? She isn't afraid of the dark or what may be lurking in an unpredictable wood, semicolon. Instead, comma, she is embraced by the tree and nothing is disrupted by her presence. So there's just, you want to study grammar and punctuation to make your work as clean as it can be. But yeah, there's really beautiful work in here, and I can't wait to see what you do next.